What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing good. I had a crazy dream last night, and I want to fill you all in on it. I wrote it down, so hopefully I can just get through it. Now, mind you, I want you all to know that I may have read this thing a little bit long, and it might take me a little bit longer reading it, but this happened very quickly in the dream. It did not happen, over the course of an hour or whatever it seems like it takes. It was very, very quickly, and I wrote down it right away because I knew I really probably wouldn't remember today when I woke up, even though I did, but still. So here we go. So I was in the mountains. I saw many clay looking houses. The houses were yellow, and some had blue roofs. From where I stood, the people began to run into their homes. They looked like clay made people. Tanks began to enter the towns from an eastern point of view to me. Then western point of view as well. Another set of tanks came in from that side. Now they were smaller as they began to run over cars. Little. It seemed like little model cars, like little plastic little cars. Um, so the western side took the street corner positions to me. That's what I look. That's how it looked to me. Russian choppers, or these little Russian choppers, they're really bad. I think the Russians credit on their helicopters, man. They did those right. Those are pretty badass, and they're unmistakably when you see them. Um, Now these Russian attack helicopters, along with their the bigger versions of those, the ones that have like a lot of beef on them, a lot of ammunition and missiles and such. Um, they began to enter the town. They began to circle the western, part of that town, and you could definitely tell they're Russian because they had the red star. It wasn't like China bought Russian equipment. No, that's not how it looked to me. Now I wanted to climb down and see what was going on, but as I climbed down, I noticed that like these were like clay little model figures. Like these weren't like humans, as into like the way that I would see humans would be like me, or if you're African American, Chinese, whatever. But these were like clay figures that were, but like almost real to me. They were real, like they were little people, but it was as if they were like made by a person, like a child or a kid or something like that. So yeah, so I stayed very. They stayed small. They were like toys. They were real with flesh and blood, and the characters that would come about ankle high if I would have stood next to them. Excuse me. The figures did not notice me though, as if I was instantly, or as if I was invisible. Excuse me, people. I'm sorry. I'm getting it out. Then I saw, or first I heard them. 5 planes and jets shot past my ears. They look like Russian foxbats to me. That's what they look like. They had the very big suckers on the front. That's how you can, always look at the Russian foxbat and know that that's them. They have the very, very big suckers on the front. Then out of the mountains, what looked like little F-22s zoomed through the mountains. Like, you had the mountains here and here, and the planes were very low. Um, it would look like the F-22s were zooming through the mountains as if to cut off these Russian aircraft. Where I was looking in the beginning, where there was tanks, now I saw missile batteries as well. They were definitely not American missile batteries. They started to shoot little rockets. They followed the little I call them models. The little planes. They followed them around, and they shot down a plane or two. There's two fires. That's why I said a plane or two. I saw these two little smoldering fires, and then there was like a little model person that was like hovering to the ground. Um, Let me see here. And then I wrote or dreamt. They settled to the ground. I looked for a kid that may have, made these models and made this, town looking thing. So I swung myself across so I would not step on these little, live toys. When I got to the other side, I saw another town with Indians from India. They're walking like little bodies in trucks across the mountains. Um, but then I saw these Chinese flags with Russian looking tanks loading fuel onto Russian version of our do's and a halves. The missiles were pointing outward as if, protecting. I wanted to get a closer look, but a very big. This thing was huge. Oh my god! In the dream, it was like, oh man, it was a huge anaconda. It had like the red on its sides. Oh man, I hate snakes, guys. I hate snakes. Um, so um, yeah, I wanted to get a closer look, but a very big anaconda-looking snake was slithering through the canyons. The snake was my life size. The small people pointed, but they cheered. They were not terrified like I was. Behind the Indians, I saw a black snake. I began to try and get back to the other side where I was. The Indian snake quickly slithered and became tall, about as tall as me. It was a cobra. It had the hood. I heard a large bang. To me, it was like an M80, but a huge cloud enveloped the city. Uh, of the two armies, American and Russian, I did not notice where it came or came from. Uh, so in the dream, behind me was smoldering rocks with a small temple. I did not notice that in the beginning of the dream. It is where I was standing or sitting when I began the dream. The temple lay in destruction as small jets flew around like wasps. A little airport was also destroyed. The army seemed like hundreds of men versus the 20 here and there that we were seeing in the beginning. Um, so just hundreds of little army men. In the distance, I saw what to me was a Doberman standing near what to me were the pyramids. In front of the pyramids, a bangled cat laid. I did not see a sphinx, where in front of the pyramids you would see that. Instead, you saw the bangled cat, which was alive and sitting there. So I looked to me, what would be east of the pyramids, and there was a mountain that was now a tower. Now you could see that it was a mountain because it was laying on top of a mountain, and they had built, a structure in front of the mountain, and it was, it would get smaller, smaller, smaller. Like basically, to me, it was like the Tower of Babel, but maybe not. I don't know. Um, um, so in front of that, there was Rottweilers, and they had like faces, but the faces were like baby faces, but they still growled and snarled. It was terrifying and weird, and I didn't like that. They circled the tower. One of them started digging a hole about a foot away. A iguana laid with his tail around people that were working. These people were working like they were putting sand inside of these trucks and little wheelbarrows and stuff like that. But yes, this anaconda was sitting there, and his tail was wrapped around these people. So yeah, the iguana laid his tail around the people. I heard more explosions, but I saw concrete. There's blue buildings as a Komodo dragon walked very close through the town. I hate that there's snakes and lizards in my dreams. It was disgusting. Its tongue picked up a little person, and you heard crunch, crunch, crunch. Next to the concrete was water, an island. It was smoking with vultures just picking at the people. But the vultures were spitting out the meat. I remember that. It was very nasty. It was very red and very like grotesque. Like I guess the way that you would look at a vulture eating a deer. That's the way it looked. So next to the concrete was water. An island was smoldering with vultures picking at the meat and then spitting it out, as if it was just bad meat, like it was not good. Submarines began to rise up and park next to the concrete. I heard a zooming coming towards me. I turned around, and the little boats to me, I could barely see them. They were like I said, this whole thing was very model like looking to me. It was very small. Everything around me was very small. It was very like a modeled structure, but with real people and real live characters. So they zoomed. They're zooming coming towards me. I turned around, and the little boats to me, I could barely see them. They began launching airplanes, but there was two planes. At first, I thought they were bombers, but then they were definitely civilian, and they crossed over the concrete. In the distance behind the concrete, little American looking F-14s or F-15s tried to catch up. Behind them, Russian looking jets, the same aircraft, the Foxbats, were chasing the F-14s and 15s. To me, that's what it looked like. I turned hard the other way, and the other. Oh, so one of the airliners, like it dove, they were getting out of the way, but the other airliner that was like behind it, it dove towards the Navy. Um, I heard explosions before before the Navy. So like one of them was shot down before the Navy. I looked for the other, and then I saw like a huge big bright light. Like to me, it was like a nuclear event just happened, but like miniature, but like to me even it lit up everything up. It lit everything up. It was just insane looking, and like I looked for the plane, it was gone, and the Navy was sitting there smoldering, and they were all just going into the water. Like the oil was coming up, and then these ships were just falling into the water, and like you could see that this island was smoldering, and it came from the area like where the concrete was. Now I don't know what the concrete means, but the buildings were blue, like unfinished looking. It was weird to me. I don't know. I'll probably look into it at some point. But that was a dream I had, and I wanted to share it with you guys. And I hope you can tell me, at least what it meant or what it could mean, or I don't know, man. That was crazy. There's like a lot of symbolism and flags and what I perceived to be historic places that meant, instead of a flag, you would have these historic places. But yeah, anyway, I hope that you can tell me what it meant or can tell me what you think. I hope World War III is not going to happen too soon. But let me know. I hope to hear from you guys, as soon as possible. I love you all, and like I said, hit me up, message me, let me know. I love you all. Bye.